Hi, welcome to part 3. In this tutorial, we're going to configure a Firebase sign-in page. So here I'm just going to type in an email and a password in a sign-up form. And if I refresh my Firebase console authentication UI here, you'll see that the email that I just typed in shows up in the Firebase console. So pretty simple, basic looking form. Not a lot of style to it, but in this tutorial, we're just going to focus on the functionality and save some of the styling for later. So by the end of this tutorial, this is the state of the application, and it's going to be a fun one. Let's get started. Okay, so this is where we left off last time. We have home and we have profile, and that's about it. The first thing that I'm going to do is create a new component called signup form. And with an index.js sign up form.js and a CSS file. And let's see. So import React sign, define a function. I think I'm gonna put an actual form component, and then I have a label that says email. Put type email, label password. And if I go back into app.js, I'm just gonna minimize this terminal here. I kind of feel like I need to clean up things a little bit. And I also discovered like a new way of using route, which is like with a component prop. So here, I also want to move these paths into a routes folder, but let's tackle one thing at a time. I'm just going to pass in a component sign up form and change this to sign up and delete the logo, the React logo, because we're just not going to use it. And I'll pass in to the component prop here hero. So this is like the same thing as like putting it as a child, but you can pass in just one single component. I just feel like it looks cleaner. Now I have to manually put sign up. You can see it there, but it is there. We need to add some styling to it, but okay, let's actually refactor the routes to be in like a constants folder, just because we're gonna have to copy this in multiple places, like for the navigation bar too, over here. So it's just better to have it, all the constants in one file. Yeah. Okay. Close everything. This button like collapses everything. Pretty nifty. Okay, new folder. Constants. And I'm gonna name it routes. Oop, what? Routes. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to import using the import star. From this folder, constants routes. Okay. So then here I'm going to make the path routes.signup. And then routes.home. Let's see if this works. I guess we can't test it until we get to the navigation bar, so we'll go ahead and do that as well. One folder up, another folder up, constants, routes. Change this here. Okay, looks like the routes constants file looks good. Okay, nice. Looks a little bit cleaner. Our sign up form is hidden, and to work with it, we kind of need to make it visible. Just a little bit. How do I want to do this? I'll add a container class. Forget how to import styles. You just import the file. Wonder why it's not showing up. Okay, so now I'm in the CSS file, and I'm going to add a container class where the margin top is going to be 200 pixels. Okay, so that gets it, moves it down a little bit. And I also want to center it on either side, so I'll add auto. I give it a width, I feel like. Why is this not working? I'm just gonna go ahead and style the rest of the form elements. So that won't do it. That also won't do it. What is this mystery? I'd really like it if that were visible. Okay, for now I'm just going to not try to center it. But that's interesting why it's not working. Border radius 5 pixels. Oops. So I was going to round it %. Oh, because it's margin top. Hello. Okay. So if I do margin and then auto, that should work. Okay. Margin has these like various properties that you can set like one at a time. So this is like margin top, and then I believe this goes for the like left and right sides. And then so you can do like top, left, right, bottom, and have like 4 various values here. Or you can just do it like this, where this is top, margin top is 200 pixels, and then auto is going to apply to either side of this container div. Okay, let's keep styling. I don't even have the button yet for submit. Just keep going. Display block. Oops. Not a JavaScript object. Okay, so give it a little bit more room. Okay, nothing too crazy. And then we're just gonna add our button. I don't know why that's so funny. Okay. Type button, submit, sign up, add a closing tab. There you go. Okay. All right. Finally got our form set up. Now, how do we keep track of whatever the user is typing? Well, for this, I'm going to use React hooks to keep track of the sign up form state. So if you've never done hooks before, this might seem a little crazy, but I'm going to assume that you know what React hooks are. If you don't, then I would recommend the documentation over here. Using the state hook takes you step by step about how to keep track of state in a component. For now, I'm just going to kind of zip right through it. Set email, use state, and it should auto import up here. Empty string is the default value. Password, set password. Use state, also empty. So now we've just initialized 2 state variables, and now we want some way to be able to connect this variable to what's being typed here in input. So to do this, I'm going to use value and onChange properties. Here we go. Email. Looks good. Very similar for the input type password, but instead we're going to set password. And this is also password. Okay, I think that's correct. A little gotcha here is when you click on sign up. Oh, look at that. It does some validation for you. The onSubmit prop is actually on form and not on button. I also need to prevent default, because if you notice, it'll refresh the page. Like that happened really quick, but in a single page application, you usually don't want that. Add in an event, prevent default. Okay, so now we can finally get to the Firebase side of things, my favorite part. I'm just gonna exit out of this other project that I have. Switch projects. Okay, so if you've never used Firebase before, it's so easy and fun to set up. Just log in with a Google account, and then you're gonna get to the Firebase console. It'll look something like this, and you might not have any Firebase projects. So you just click on create a project, and I'll name this one my app. I'm going to turn off Google Analytics for this. And so basically, instead of writing your own authentication system, you can just use Firebase's like database management tools and authentication and Cloud Firestore and all these various things for like creating an app. I feel like it's never been so easy to create an application. Building a business, though, is a whole nother ballgame. After you finish making your project, go to authentication, click get started. I'm going to open up it should look something like this, hopefully on your screen. And they have, as you can see, a bunch of different ways of enabling sign-in. But for this one, let's just turn on email and password. Okay. So now that we have that enabled, we now have to set up Firebase in our application. So if you go back to home, and there's iOS, Android, and web, click on web, and then you type in another nickname. So I'll name this one my app web. Register app. I'm not gonna add Firebase hosting because I'm not interested in hosting this website and providing it to the public, but maybe you are. And this is the thing that you need right here, this Firebase config. So now that we have our Firebase web config set up, we now need to connect this, as I was saying, to our app. So what I'm going to do is create a Firebase folder where we can store these constants. So I'm going to save it as config.js. Should just name this Firebase. There you go. Firebase config.js, and I'm just going to simply paste in the config over here. So I have my numbers. Don't try to use mine because I'm gonna delete this app. It won't work. So you should go through the steps and make your own config and not steal mine and charge to my card. And now I have to install Firebase in this web project. So you can go to terminal, new terminal, or you can use a fancy shortcut, which is option tilde. I think it's just npm install Firebase. That was fast. Almost feels like too fast. Did I do that right? Hold on. Yeah, okay. Cool. I'm going to import Firebase here in our config file. Firebase. And I think I also want to import Firebase /auth. That's right. And then down here I have to initialize the app. So I'm going to do const Firebase is equal to capital Firebase, which is this one up here, dot initialize app Firebase config. Export Firebase. Not that one, this one. Great. In the app, we now need some way to call Firebase here in signup form. So I foresee that I'm going to close this terminal. We're going to need Firebase in multiple places, keeping track of like a user and after they've logged in, maybe posting to the database, things like that. So I think we should make our context now. We're going to wrap our entire app in like a Firebase context.provider. And then wherever we need the Firebase context, we use this useContext hook. It should automatically get it. So instead of this config file that we're going to access, we're going to pass in this config to a context object, wrap our entire app in it, and pass in this as the value. And then we'll be able to use it. I think this will become more clear once we just get into it. So I'm just going to start coding. Okay. I'm going to make a context folder inside source, and in context, I'm going to put Firebase context.js, import create context from React. So for now, this is going to be null. And then you'll see we'll pass in a value in an index.js. Very top level. Yep, over here. So here we're going to wrap our entire app in this Firebase context. Is this going to... I don't think it's going to automatically get it. Double wrap that, and app is going to be a child of this. So now we have to grab the Firebase that we're talking about. Firebase config. Okay, let's see if that'll render. It's looking good. Looks like it just re-rendered. Okay, so we call Firebase context.provider, wrap app with it, and now we're going to go lower into the tree. So if you'll remember, inside app we have this switch component, which is going to render, depending on the path, different components. So for sign up, it's going to render this sign up form further down the tree. So in sign up form, what we need to do now is be able to get the Firebase context. So let's do that. Call Firebase. Okay. Looks good. And now, finally, we're going to put, be able to get this context, this Firebase value and use it for signing up people. So first I want to prevent the refresh, and then I'm going to say firebase.auth.create password. Hopefully I do not have any typos. And then there's a .then callback. And then there's a catch callback for any errors. Okay, and then I want to clear out the form. Just like that. Okay, let's see if this works. So I'm now in, yes, the authentication tab. Okay, c@gmail.com, a very insecure password. Oh, I still have the alert over here. Okay, anyway, so let's refresh the authentication and it shows up. Yay! Okay, well, that is finally the end of this tutorial. So see you later. Bye.